I'm currently holding a meteorite found in Africa. It's magnetic. Up next on Sincerely Big Al. Not this. Molding and casting. Hi, I'm Jessica.
And I'm Eddie.
And we're casting and molding today.
And we're here with Ray Bowden, our research technician. Ray, tell us a little bit about what we're going to be doing today.
We are today going to be molding, or remolding I should say, a horse palate, or the upper part of the mouth of a fossil horse that's about 14 million years old. What we're doing is we're taking what is called a master copy, because we've already molded this, so we're actually taking this master and we're going to mold off of it so we don't have to remold off the original and potentially damage the original bone. And we will be able to pour resin cast copies of it, or plastic cast copies of it, as many as we want until the mold breaks down, just like this one.
Before we get started, we need to put on our safety equipment.
We disperse. So, when you are casting and molding, you want to make sure that you are as safe as possible. So in order to be safe, we always wear our goggles in case something splashes in our eyes, because we don't want to go blind. And we also, unlike Eddie here, we wear our lab coats to make sure our clothes do not get dirty. And,
Apparently we missed a few procedures.
So what would be the first step for this process?
That is a very good question. The very first step of this process is we're going to take the cast, or the master cast, and we're going to build up a clay base all the way around it. So, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to let Eddie do it. Here you go, Eddie. Very good so far. You want to add a little bit right in there and over here too.
So this is why we were allowed to play with Play-Doh in elementary school, right?
Yeah, make it nice and smooth.
You get one side, not take the other.
Yay!
By the way, the reason why we're molding and casting is so we can bring our fossils, which are rare and in many cases actually need special conditions in which to keep the fossil so it will not deteriorate. So what we're doing now is when we make these copies, then we can bring them out and become that museum without walls.
How far out do you want us to go?
About an inch.
Does anyone have a ruler?
What you guys have done? It looks smooth, looks good, and it's about an inch around the specimen. I want you to take this. You want to run around, or you want to drag it around the edge of the specimen where the clay meets up with the specimen itself, or the master.
Okay. It's like a 14 million year old filling.
It is. Very good.
Ooh.
And we want to make sure that the clay is not lapped up on the sides, because that'll cover over original detail, which we do not want to do. Okay, so it looks pretty good so far. So we've got the clay base all the way around the original specimen, or in this case, the master copy. So Jessica, next thing we're going to do is we're going to continue this line that I've cut in the clay here, and we're going to go all the way around, and we're going to cut off this excess, the clay that's along the edge.
So do I just draw a circle around it?
Just draw a circle.
Oh, okay.
And the reason why we're making this cut is so we can get a good seal of the wall around the base of the mold.
Kind of like slicing a pizza.
Exactly like slicing a pizza. Okay, so the base looks really good. What we're going to do now is we're going to label it using this key system we have. So we're going to label it CALIPP US.
US, is that for the United States?
No, that would be for us. Calypus.
Oh.
So the next step we're going to do is we're going to use our trusty pin here, cooking pin, and so what we're going to do is we're going to take some more clay and we're going to make the walls now. We're going to have my assistant here, Jessica. She's going to roll it out. Go ahead and roll it out.
See, I've always wanted to be a chef, but I lack cooking skills. So this is the closest I'll ever get.
And just like Jessica's food, you don't want to eat this at home.
So what we're going to do now is we're going to cut the top or the left and right edges of this clay to make it nice and rectangular. So here is our wall. So you want to wrap it around and butt it up against the side of the base.
Okay.
And you want to kind of press down along the edges. That is to stop any kind of bursting of the wall from the weight of the silicone that we pour in there. And then the last thing we've got to do, and this is one of the most important parts, is to seal the base to the wall. We'll run it right along the seam of the wall in the base, and we'll just smear the clay just ever so slightly. So we want to look at the height of our wall to make sure the height of the wall is above the height of the specimen, because we're going to want to completely enclose this in silicone. Now everything is all done on the mold right now. Eddie, if you could be so kind, go ahead and spray it in there. That's the most important step, because you could completely ruin a specimen if you do not put the ease release on. And then the next step is to pour the silicone. All right, so what I want you to do is I want you to scoop it out, and I want you to fill it up to this line right here.
Okay.
So here you go.
It's like molasses, but I don't really know. I've never had molasses.
And what we're going to do in the meantime is Jessica's pouring into the measuring bucket. We're going to mix. We're going to thoroughly shake up our part B. It's very important that it's thoroughly mixed. I'm going to have Eddie do. I want you to pour it up to the second line.
Second line.
Fill it up. Fill the cup up to the second line.
It's like Pepto-Bismol that will not cure anything.
Got it on the side.
There's a little bit on the side. Good job, Jessica.
Good at many things, but making a mess is number one.
So what I want Jessica to do now, we're going to take this. This is our mixing bucket, and we're going to pour the base into the mixing bucket. Go ahead and pour that in. That looks pretty good.
Oh, really? Okay. I
Yeah.
was like, I'm
just
taking a
gonna
really
do-
long time. Can you push my goggles up? Thank you.
Teamwork.
And then what we're going to do is we have Eddie, and Eddie's going to pour in the part B into the container. Make sure it drips all the way out. So what I want you to do, Eddie, when you stir it, I want you to stir, and you want to scrape the inside of the bucket as you're doing it, and scrape the bottom as well. Do it very slowly, because it'll want to slop out and hit you in the face. It'll take roughly about 8 hours for the silicone to set up. So what Eddie's going to do is Eddie's going to pour the silicone from the bucket into the mold. Go ahead and do that, which is exactly what we want to see. We see air bubbles coming out the top. Those air bubbles will continue to come out as it sets, and we will just now let it sit for about 8 hours, and then it will be all done.